Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, so you know when I upload or I go live. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, cause this is not just a part, poppy, this a vibe. Yo, yo, yo. Yes, sir. It's your boy Lightsout again. We back with another episode, but this one is going to be more on some story time stuff. So I got this story in my mind that happened mad years ago. Let's just say, I think I was probably like 10. So we going back like 90, 91 or something. So it has to do a little bit with video games, like going to the next stage in the video game world. You know, the enhancements and stuff like that. And then just how life was life and 10 years old for me. So real quick, make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. It's your boy Lightsout, your favorite blind man. I'm going to give you stories, give you some beats, give you some bars, all kinds of stuff on this channel. Just make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And now we're going to go back to the story. So years ago, like I said, talking about like 1990, 91, my mom was on some kind of government rental program for the building we was living in, where I grew up at in the Bronx on Davidson. So I never knew that. I never knew, I just thought we was, living in poverty a little bit. Mom's was dibbing and dabbling. She was selling drugs with my stepdad. I ain't glorifying none of this, but this is my life. This is what really happened. And at the time, I didn't know what was going on, Video games just, Sega Genesis just dropped, Super Nintendo just dropped. People in my age, like 10 or 11, they already was starting to hustle. I wasn't on that level yet. I'm on that level of playing video games, watching Jordan dunk on people. It was a great time in New York City, in the Bronx, whether it was poverty all around us or not. But we had so much we could do in those days. So in my time, around that time, mom was on a government rental program type thing, assistant program that helps us with the rent or whatever. I didn't know that. I just know that mom was losing the apartment and we had to move out. So we went to go live with my maternal grandma. Shout out to my grandma Beleng, rest in peace. That's my heart. Creston Avenue all the way. And so we used to go from Creston Avenue to Davidson to Creston Avenue, all my life growing up. So around this time, mom lost the apartment. I ain't know what was going on. You don't ask questions. You just do what you was told at this time around. And all I know, mommy's crying, telling telling my grandma is that, she lost the apartment, she don't know what she gonna do, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, me and my brothers on some rebel stuff, and we like, we gonna go see who's living in our old, our apartment. We couldn't accept it that we lost our apartment. So me and my little brother snuck back in there, picked the locks, got in there. We like 9 and 10 years old. We just going to see what's going on. Long story short, we walk in there. It's a trap house, basically. Mom didn't lose it yet. I think mom was renting it out to somebody, and they was paying for her to stay there before we lose it. And allegedly, the person she rented to, I didn't know at the time. Like I said, I'm 9, 10 years old. I'm just curious who's living there. I'm mad heated that we lost the apartment, so I'm mad nosy, me and my little brother. So we go in there. We was a 3-bedroom apartment. My mom's room with my stepdad. My big brother's, the first room you walk into apartment, that's my big bro's room. That was my big bros, both of my big bros. Now they out the apartment already. They're already dibbling dabbling in the street. One of my older brothers selling drugs. The other one is really going ham in the street. That's the story. Well, long story short, the first room we go into is nice and neat. There's a twin size bed. Now, just FYI, I have my sight at this time. I didn't go blind till I was 13 going on 14. So this is like 10 years old, 11-ish. Something around there, like 1990, 91. So long story short, we go in there. I go in the room, my little bro. We like looking at everything. We not terrorizing nothing. Like we not making a mess. We just being very, very sneaking about this shit. Because one, we don't want to get our ass beat getting caught in an empty crib that's allegedly was our apartment and is closing down for a new family. We didn't know that. But here we in this apartment. And my big bro's room is basically like brand new with a new bed in it, dresser. So long story short, I started searching the dresser. I didn't see nothing really, appealing, whatever. So I go to my old room, me and my little brother's old room. There's nothing in there. Go to my mom's room, shit is empty, yada, yada, yada. So before we leave again, there's really nothing popping going on. I guess we lost the apartment or whatever, but ain't nothing good going on. So we go back into that first room, which was my big bro's old room, which was the room my mom was renting out, or whatever happened. And I go back in that dresser, and long and behold, I find a little box. I find a box. I open it. It's mad 50s and 20s and hundos in the shit. Had to be like 6, 7 bands in this stack. And mind you, this is, like I said, 91, 90. So I don't know who money is this. I look at my little bro. I'm like, yo, I'm thinking we struck gold. So I really was the one that told my brother, yo, we could have taken the whole bundle of stack. We not doing that. We just took a couple of 20s, couple of 50s, couple of hundreds. So we leave, put the money back in there. Again, I'm not condoling this at all. But this is my story time with Lights. So I take a couple of hundreds, couple of 50s, couple of 20s. So in the hood, around this time, if you from the city, I don't know how it is in other states, but in New York City, in the Bronx, growing up, there was always mom and pop shops that was Asians, chinos, and the chinos always had everything. Video games, cap guns, G.I. Joes, whatever was lit at that decade or that year, the Asians had it, the chinos had it in these stores in the Bronx. So I remember that prior to finding this money, I manifested, I said to myself, we was dirt poor, but we did have a Sega Genesis. My mom's bought us that. When I went to the last time I went to Chino's, I think it was to buy some basketball cards or was to buy a cap gun. And I saw this video game that was Sega Genesis, and it was a Chinese puzzle game. And at the time, Asian culture was lit in the Bronx, like in the inner cities, because all the kung fu movies on the weekends, all the shit you see with Bruce Lee, all the movies with Bruce Lee, y'all know what it is. If y'all are around this decade, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So here I am, I'm looking at the glass screen on the Chino store, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy that game. It was like some puzzle game. I think it was called Ishido. Ishido. That came out in 1990. It was a puzzle game. I said to myself, I'm going to get that shit somehow, somewhere. Now, mind you, I'm like 10. Somehow, somewhere, I'm going to get this. Here we go. I get this lick in my old apartment. I took whoever's money my mom is renting. I didn't know. I didn't care. I went on this. Basically, I was splurging. I was balling in the Chino store. And the neighborhood toy store, Chino store, mom and pop store. I go in there, I buy the Ishido. This is like when Sega Genesis, this is like when console games was like $60 at the time in 1990. I buy mad G.I. Joes, I buy cap. I'm going ham in the Chino store. Now, mind you, this Chino knows me by myself, and he knows me with my mom, because everybody goes to this store. This been on the block for years. Like maybe, as far as I could go back, remembering how long we lived in this apartment, I think I was already going to this Chino store for like 7 joints already, like 7 years. So long story short, I go in there, I pull out the 100, he looking at me, how you got that money? And I'm like, don't worry about it, Chino, man. My mom gave it to me. I made some elaborate story. So he showed me the product, which was the Ishido game, mad stuff. I bought mad. I can't recall exactly what was the total. Just know at this time and date in 1990, you're not splurging like $300-400 in the Chino store at all, especially when you're 10 years old without your parents. So he was already giving me the eye like, yo, suspicious, like this little kid sus. Now mind you, I'm not dressed up in no J's. I got regular skippies on, $2 skippies from the freaking discounts. This is that time. This is my story. So I bounce. I think I buy myself a gold chain. I go crazy. Long story, I spend all the money. The whole day is coming to an end when I end up in Wella house, in my grandma's house, and my mom is there crying, and she's talking to my grandma, and you don't butt in, but I'm eavesdropping, and she's telling my grandma that she's about to get unalived. She's about to get turned into a eulogy because somebody stole the plug's money in her apartment. So when I hear this, my content of that day Whether it was a slice of pizza from Vinny's on 181st and the Concourse, or it was some chinos from John's on Davidson and Burnside, I just know that food content and my high that I was running on went downhill because I just heard my mom say that somebody stole chicken or money from one of the biggest drug dealers in the Bronx at the time. And you know who was that person that stole that money? Was this lady that rented the drug lord the apartments, 9 and 10-year-old kids that stole the money. So I was panicking, I was shook. Long story short, I don't know how I got the courage, and I told my moms that I stole the money. She started wigging out. This is the crazy part. I never got beat. So no matter how much dirt I did in the street, I always respected my mom, never raised my voice, never cursed her, ever. That shit stood in the streets. My mom was my mom. She was sacred. My grams was my grandma. All the adults in my family was always respected. It ain't like this day and age that nobody respect nobody in a hierarchy. In my days, in those days, we respected. So I told her I stole it. She got a little bit happy because now she had 2 weeks to pay this man. That's what she told my grandma, allegedly, to pay back whatever money I stole. It was like $500. I took her $400. This day, it was a lot of bread in the 90s. So long story short, I don't know how my mom was going to pay. She was crying that she's going to die because he's going to kill her. Here I am. I took money from one of the biggest coke dealers in the Bronx at the time, Dominican dude, and it was for my video game fetish because I thought I was balling. I wanted that Ishido video game from Sega Genesis. Here's how ironic is life. So not only I almost got my mom and us unalive or turned into an obituary for video games and doing what I wasn't supposed to be doing, taking other people's property, but about a week in this happened, they blew that guy's head off. They unalived him. And the crazy part about it, I went to his funeral, and that's actually the first funeral I ever went to that when I had my sight, I see a dead body with a bullet hole in the head. Like, that's the first time I witnessed that with my eyes. I even touched money. I even touched them. I felt so bad. Even though I was like 10, I felt so hurt because I stole this man money. And I didn't know, even though he was doing illegal shit in the street, you know, he was selling big-time coke dealer in the Bronx or whatever. But it doesn't matter. I just felt so bad that I took from this man and they killed him. But in the back of my mind, I was just so happy that we wasn't going to get unalived or turn into an obituary because my dumb ass with my little brother stole from a kingpin just for video games for Sega Genesis and toys, bro. This is where our mind was at in 1990 because there was so much shit going on in the environment that you just wanted something. Some people took it out of force, and some people hustled, or some people worked for it. I worked for it many times, packing bags. I did my fake little hustling that I thought was a hustler. That wasn't for me. I wasn't selling shit. Tried it, whatever. I got my money either legally or 90% of the time, and if I did shit illegal, I repented for that shit already. I don't condone it, but that's my story. With Lights Out, I almost got my mother unalived and us unalive because I stole from a Bronx kingpin that used to sell cocaine in the Bronx. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe, and hope you like this little quick story time. Luke 1.